So I think we can go ahead and get started. At least we can look into the proposals the usual way. And if people will join in and if they have questions, then we can take it as they come.
Sounds good. I haven't looked at EIPs in a week, so I'm sure there's going to be.
I took a look on Sunday.
You took a look on Sunday. That's all I heard.
Yeah. Oh, that's my usual Zoom bug. I took a look on Sunday, and it didn't. There was much going on.
That's good. I did get somebody messaging me about the wallet QR code standards, so we should probably try and get that merged today. These are, what's going on here? Is this full dissent wanting to change this?
Yeah, I seem to remember it's just like a formatting change that he has on like a bunch of things that are supposed to like say things a certain way, say it a different way.
Yeah, sounds good. I thought I remember seeing one that Micah commented on. I sort of feel like I'm coming into this without all of the context of what's happening.
Hello. It's just how you. Oh wait, there goes my mic. There goes my mic again. I think it's just mainnet on an EIP.
Okay.
I haven't heard from Recmo in ages, by the way, with regards to 712.
Okay.
If you might want to try messaging him or something. Like I nudged a couple of times in Twitter DMs.
All right, I can try and message him. Okay. He wants to change all of these. None of them have been merged. I'm just going to ask if we want to merge these ourselves. All right, we'll see what happens. That's really nice that he has a nice list of them. Okay. We know this one.
That one's me. So there's I think it's good, but there is one just grammatical thing that I said that I'd update, and I realized also there's a few more tests that I wanted to throw into it. So if you want to merge it in, that's great. Like I think I have fixed everything other than like one ask, which is just grammatical.
Yeah, we can just merge that in that case. I trust that you'll fix it at some point or another.
Yeah. It's actually like one of these like great kind of pedantic things. If it's syntactically correct to say outside a few things without putting the word of in, which I thought was common parlance, but Micah and another both say that it should be outside of and that it needs that in order to be syntactically correct. But I mean, yeah, if two people are already saying it, I'm more than happy to throw it in. think this might be the one that I recommended that they collaborate with someone else.
Yeah, it doesn't
Which one is
appear
this?
that anything has happened since you left comments on it.
Mhm.
So can probably just leave it for now.
Yeah, that was one or two that were like pretty similar. So I even just recommended they collaborate with each other.
This is going faster than I thought. Usually
I know.
during the week, I just like I press done on the merged or closed PRs, but I've just been mostly off this week, so I haven't done that, and they just stacked up. But a lot of them were just no ops.
Yep.
I don't know what's going on with this stuff. Like, bots going crazy.
So I see a couple of more people joining in. Welcome, Shibhangi. Hello, Guru Prasad. So I suppose, Guru Prasad, this is the first time for you joining this call.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Would you like to take a moment and just talk about yourself? I know you have been interested in contributing in the cat herders and you're looking into some of the execution specs.
Yeah.
Would you like to take a moment and introduce yourself to the group?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Guru Prasad, Guru for short. And actually, I'm based out of Germany. I'm originally from India, and I'm essentially a Python developer. I've been working for around 10 years with Python, mostly on the data side with the data libraries and stuff like that. So yeah, as Pooja mentioned, I'm interested in contributing to the Ethereum ecosystem. Have recently joined the Ethereum cat herders community, and yeah.
Awesome. Where in Germany are you at?
I'm based out of Düsseldorf.
Okay, cool.
My family's from there once upon a time.
Oh, okay,
Nice.
that's nice.
Then we hung out in America for like 200 years, but yeah.
On the Rhine, yeah.
So Matt, I wanted to inform you that one of the issues in the execution specs that we were talking about, that we need someone to help out with renaming. I guess one word was there, and
okay.
yeah, so Guru is interested in contributing to that. So I have showed him that repository as a way to start looking into it. So if we get to know like more about it, not right here in this call, but yes, of course, if there is anything more that cat herders can contribute with, or if you think that there are tasks that he should be looking into, yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah, so I'm just getting started with understanding how the Ethereum the system works and stuff like that. So I'm just going through the repository, and so if there's anything that somewhat of someone who's like a beginner to Ethereum can contribute. I mean, I've got extensive Python experience, but I'm relatively new to Ethereum. Do let me know. I'd be happy to help.
Cool. Yeah, I think the execution spec is a great place to find your home because it's a fully Python-based implementation of Ethereum.
Well, to provide some more context of this present call, this is about the EIP editing. So we are also looking into the reviewing the proposals. Matt is helping out. Matt is an experienced editor, and he is helping out reviewing and letting people know like who are interested in being a contributor as an editor or a reviewer of a proposal. So this call is all about that. But after this call, if you would like to get more involved, feel free to hang out to the channel EIP editing on Ethereum cat herders. That's one place. And if you would like to look into EIP bot, that we are heavily looking help for. So please take a look at EIP bot repository as well.
Sure. Thanks for the info.
Are we okay with this change, Pooja?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Can you still yeah, you can.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I mean, we were discussing it, but I'm not sure, like, what is the general opinion here? I'm fine. I mean, I think it is useful.
Why does there need to be but the decision is with the editor's part, just out of curiosity?
Just to explicitly say if someone is like, but the PR number is 5555, and it's like, well, you game the system to get that number by creating 100 bad PRs, and so now as editors, we're not going to incentivize that behavior.
Here.
Yeah, we have seen a issue of squatting in the past. That is one.
Yeah.
And that is one of the primary one, and the secondary one was like, if we are trying to not encourage people getting their own PR number by just creating an issue in the GitHub repository, it would be like coming back to the pull request number, and obviously the editors, they should have this power to.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just like at that point in the day where my brain is saying things like, just put in there that if they try squatting a number, we will pedantically destroy their EIP in every way imaginable. We will allow no external links. There will be no variations from proper Oxford English, and their PR will be doomed to be stonewalled into eternity. But I agree, that's probably not like the right style we're gunning for here. It's just that time of day for me.
That's pretty funny. It's still the morning for me, so I still have a bright eye view of the future.
Oh, I don't know if this is my pessimistic brain. It's just like kind of the like, this will never actually canonically go into EIP1, but it would be a funny idea kind of thing. No, it's also just like, I mean, in terms of like whatever the kind of like pyramid of evolution for squatters is, squatting good EIP numbers has got to be somewhere close to the bottom for me. But hey, I mean, I guess if it can be squatted, it will be squatted.
It's true. So we're okay with this, Pooja? And then I'll merge this PR. I can't hear you if you're speaking.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was muted and I was speaking. So I was saying that I might have messed up this notification in the swarm of the bot notification that we got on the weekend. So yeah, I just responded, yes, I'm good with this. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Look at that bot just merging things after we approve it. Love to see it. So they want to have a way to send money to NFTs.
I think I missed this one actually.
I think there is some project which actually has something like this implemented.
Really?
Let me take a look at this. I had missed that and I was in a different tab. Which one is this for?
Yes, I think there was one project during EdCon this year. Maybe
Interesting.
something from hackathon it was coming up. Yeah. Yes, I wanted to implement this in Cat Artist as a way to reward the EIP editor and author. Didn't work out then, but yes.
I'm having trouble understanding why this needs to be an EIP. It could be I'm misunderstanding though. Like I'll admit, like it could be that there is something innovative here. Like, isn't sure like what they're gunning for here.
I mean, I can
Yeah.
agree this can be a project specific idea, but making it a general standard, not so sure.
I'm not exactly sure what problem it's trying to solve. You know what I
Like
mean? Like
NFTs already have a mapping from NFT to owner. So just send the tokens to that owner. Tip.
yeah, and I can imagine. Yeah, like the big problem with tipping is that gas costs more than the tip in general.
Yeah.
ETH mainnet also. So like you would think that if it's an Ethereum improvement proposal, that at least should work on mainnet also. So I keep on expecting to see something where he's like dealing with how you'd be able to tip on mainnet, but I'm not sure. Oh, and he is. There is something here about caching off chain. I'll try and read through this better. I missed it before.
Sounds good. I think for the most part, it looks good though as a draft. So I'll probably approve it and we can discuss it with him in the on the Ethereum Magicians forum.
Sounds good.
Wow, 2017.
Every time I think I understand this EIP, I like read another paragraph and get confused again.
This one?
No, the one, yeah, oh, this one I actually spent a while reading before also. It would also fall into the not really sure category. Yeah, like to be like, just to be really clear, like it's a level of not being sure where maybe he has like a really good point and I'm missing it.
Yeah.
But there's also a part of me that's wondering if maybe things don't work exactly like he thinks they do, kind of a thing.
This is always possible.
Yeah. I have a conversation with him in the conversation part of that view. In terms of the actual writing, like I couldn't find any issue with the writing.
I think that this generally makes sense. It's strange and it's not backwards compatible, but it does.
What do you gain by having it there in the middle? Yeah,
I think the main thing you gain is you don't have to keep approving tokens every time you want to send tokens to a contract. So like the way that the transfer from functionality of like the ERC 2721 work is that there's just no way of doing a callback. So you just have to do one atomic operation there. And this is like has callbacks built in. So anytime you deposit some token to some address, which you've already approved, you've done that once, that's done.
Yeah.
Then it will call these functions accept deposit on whatever your target contract is. And that will let it do the accounting that you would normally have to do in a separate transaction.
As you're saying, it's just a bypass on the approvals. He was saying something about security. If anything, this should end up being a little bit less secure now.
Yeah, it should definitely be less secure.
I mean, isn't the current model that Uniswap has of just like you basically sign a message to do the approve? Isn't that pretty solid as is?
And that's another way of avoiding
Yeah.
the multi-transaction mechanism of approving. But that's relatively expensive to do. Like it's going to cost 3,000 plus gas to do an EC recover and check the address. So this is just an alternative. He does not have a backwards compatibility section though.
Ooh, I missed that.
Alrighty. This again.
Oh, which one are we on now? Oh,
Make NFT not NFT.
wait, this one. I remember looking through this one that actually, I think this one was actually written pretty well. It's raw sauce, so I need a solid dub. Let me try and pull it up. Which number is it again?
4557.
Oh, his number's off, isn't it? It's calling it 4521.
Oh, but he has an issue.
Okay.
No, he doesn't.
Right.
Huh.
So this
Did
is
his
just an
issue get deleted?
extension. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. So this is an extension on top of 721 that basically just makes it so that platforms built to interact with ERC20 can also interact with it.
Hi, I had a question about the security consideration section.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like over here there's just isn't it too short, or you think that's normal to have a small security consideration section?
I think for ERCs, the security considerations section is often relatively short because they're more application standards. They just oftentimes don't have as many security considerations. Like a core EIP will have a lot more security considerations generally.
I
But
see.
it also just matters on the ERC, like the one that we just reviewed about what was the one that we just reviewed? The one we just reviewed that had the singleton contract for all transfers, like that should have a security consideration section about, okay, now you have one contract that everybody's approving. This is clearly like a security bottleneck. And so that should be discussed. But like for this one,
Right.
just adding this transfer function onto the 721 standard is relatively straightforward. So it makes sense in this context that it's relatively short.
So it will be a bigger issue if it's a core EIP.
Yeah, if we look at 1559, I'm gonna guess that it's pretty long one. Yeah, so if we look at 1559, it's got security considerations and it's got like several paragraphs about security considerations. If we look at 3074, if we look at its security considerations. It's actually kind
I
of
see.
small, but there is like a lot more info here than the other one.
I see. Oh, I also had a question about the Magicians Forum. Like we have the link to the Magicians Forum, so there can be discussion about the EIP. And sometimes there's so many questions there, but the authors don't seem to be as engaged there. Like, do we want them to be more engaged in the forum, or like should we ask those questions to them as editors?
Should we ask them more questions on the Magicians Forum?
Or just to refer, like if there's some questions there that they haven't responded to, like is that something that we should be concerned about?
I think that we should try and get them to respond to those types of things. It's less important at like the draft and review stage, but as they try and move it to like last call and final, that's kind of where as editors, we should be looking to make sure that there aren't unaddressed questions about the standard.
I see. So right now it's just more about the basic format template of the EIP proposal.
Yeah, pretty much. We're just making sure that it's syntactically correct.
I see.
All right, posted on Magicians on the micropayment tipping one.
Thanks.
This was the other one that I told you there was one before that I thought was like really similar. So this is the other one. There we go.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the idea is not bad. Like it does make sense to me, especially when we're looking at either game or metaverse type assets, that there could be this kind of middle concept of not owning, having permission to consume. Like, you know, if you think about like a large structure in Decentraland or something like that, it might be
Yeah.
just allowed to come in even if they don't own it. Like
Makes
it does make
sense.
sense to me as a concept.
Yeah. Well, if this EIP is final, then it's just wrong.
Interesting point. Like, I do think the ratio is probably technically correct. And it's just like a mistake that's innocent enough that it made it through up until now. But I do think that he is actually canonically correct about this.
The author of this PR.
Yeah. I just want to pull it up so I can look at it a bit more.
My brothers. Take it then.
Wait a second. Check loyalty, cross country, internal workings, well, this is, both sides, specification, person, specification, wait, look at this again. What's the first check? I get what he's saying. It's like a bit pedantic. But I get what he's saying.
What is the difference between what's listed here and
If it basically it does the extra check to see if 165 is supported on the contract. As in EIP 165 says that you're supposed to check first to see if it is supported. And then once you see that it's supported, you're supposed to, I think, check that the result is not. Yeah. Oh, or the way he has it even is that you have to check that supporting the right interface for 165, like its magic value is true, and that also 0x, FFF, etc. is false. But there's no check performing that here, and it just jumps straight to assuming that 165 is there. It strikes me like a pedantic thing, nor do I think that anyone would do this in practice. They would probably just use like a try catch. And ERC 165 does, of course, predate try catch. So it strikes me as being like a little bit pedantic, especially because I'm like, especially because this is on top of 721, which is supposed to have 165 support anyway.
So realistically, like this works 98% of the time.
It should work 100% of the time, even.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And because yeah, it should work 100% of the time. It's just like not doing it canonically as EIP 165 recommends, though I wouldn't recommend doing it like EIP 165 recommends.
Yeah.
Ironically, I actually recently coded an NFT marketplace that checks contracts to see if they're 2981 compliant, and I did not do that either, for whatever it's worth. Especially given that the EIP is final already. I'm wondering if there should be some level of allowance for changing final ERCs. I feel like I've heard that conversation come up before. Like
Yeah.
I'm thinking about 165, like Solidity's changed. It has try catch now. Even just like saying like do a try catch directly to make sure that the call 165 is implemented seems more reasonable. But I don't know.
I have no issues with merging this.
Just trying to get the like full context here. What is this? It's that Gavin's GitHub username isn't there on EIP 1.
I don't think it's EIP 1, it's 161.
Oh,
This is apparently the only EIP that doesn't have an author listed with a GitHub username.
mhm.
And so after this, then Alex says that we can have a validator that actually
Oh, cool. Got it.
does this. Yeah. Wow. Okay, that's all.
One question I have related to this particular issue pull request. So the author has actually tried to update a few EIPs which may or may not have been in the final status. There is this one proposal 101 which was by Vitalik Buterin, and he did update the author here, though this proposal seems to be stagnant because of whatever reason, the inactivity or not. I'm wondering, like, the present GitHub bot, I don't think it make any changes to the status till there is a specific pull request to make that change, even though it gets the pull request changing some of the other details of the EIP. So do you think it is something that we should do something about it or think about it?
Like have the bot auto create PRs to move to the next status.
Yeah, I mean, like when when a bot creates PR, moved it to next status, saying that there is no change. I mean, like no change in the proposal for a while.
Mhm.
But after that, when a proposal is changed, though it is not specific change to the status, but in any form, is it possible to get it back in the earlier status? So if you look into EIP 101, change the author's detail there.
Shoot. Okay.
But still it is stagnant. And there is recent activity from 7 days ago.
But that wasn't like a functional change to the EIP.
No, it
That was
wasn't.
just, yeah. I mean, I think that that's okay. Like
Yeah,
stagnant means that no one's pursuing it. We were doing some just editorial changes to update the author. That makes sense to me.
yeah, I mean, that was just an example. Like someone else is doing some other changes, not the very major ones, say anything related to typo or fixing one of the earlier errors. It wouldn't change the status. Is it something that can be automated, or we should leave it because leaving might give an opportunity to author to update it, the status as well as the major changes that may be required to push the proposal in any different status?
I don't think that we need to auto change the status, and if we're just doing a blanket editorial change for the repository, I don't think that should adjust whether an EIP is stagnant or not. I think it would be helpful to like auto merge, auto create PRs to change the status from last call to final once the review period ends. That would probably be helpful.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
but I think the stagnant one is, I mean, in the ideal world, if something other than something in the preamble changes, then maybe you could enforce that it's no longer stagnant. Actually, no, because then if you go in and you need to change some links or something to support the new standard, we don't want it to change. So, yeah.
Okay, not a problem. I was just curious, so thought of sharing.
All right. We went through all of my notifications. There is one EAP that somebody has been requesting that I review again. The QR code EAP. I don't know where that one is. Here we go.
Matt, sorry, just a question related to the last issue, last pull request only. So the ideal form of adding author here is just the GitHub, or do we still consider taking the email there?
I didn't catch the question. Sorry.
So the ideal form of adding author along with the name is just to have the GitHub, or people are still allowed to use the email address?
We're kind of making a requirement that one author must use a GitHub address, a GitHub account. Other
Okay.
authors could use an email.
Okay. Okay. And if it is this one author proposal, then it has to be GitHub, at least GitHub.
Yep.
Makes sense.
I was thinking it may be helpful to have the EIP proposal template translated into Chinese. Is there already a Chinese or a translation for other languages?
Not as far as I'm aware. The one issue with that is that currently we don't accept any EAPs in other languages, only in English. And so we also
but
do that
even
kind of.
just explaining the template in Chinese, so something that just talks about the headings, and I don't know, just if somebody's reading the document in Chinese about how to write in English, it may be easier for them to follow.
I was thinking actually, like as you were saying that maybe an annotated version of the template, as in like you'd have the template in English, but then with annotations in Chinese around it, like explaining the different sections in Chinese. I could see a use for that. Like that way you maintain, like, you could write there also that EIPs do need to be in English, but at least you could get the explanation of the sections in different languages. So people who have some fluency in English but are more comfortable or have native language in a different language would be able to understand what they're supposed to be doing in English better. Does that make sense to you, like mine?
Yeah, and I was thinking for a lot of people, they can understand the nouns or they can understand the programming terms, but maybe the sentence structure fits, like the verbs or the sentence structure may be hard for them. So if we use the explanations in their language, it may be easier to understand what's required.
I guess my one concern would be that if they need, if it's making it easier for them to write EAPs by reading the instructions in their native language, then I'm like worried that the prose in the English prose of their EIP is not going to be very fluent. And in the past, we've been pretty lenient, but we have tried to enforce that the EIP does flow like relatively clearly.
Right. I mean, I was just thinking from my experience in Korea and Japan that the engineers are already fluent in, they're pretty fluent in English, like business English, maybe not native level fluency. So they may be able to read the English document, but maybe they may not understand all the nuances. So if they also have it in their local language, it may be easier for them to understand. So for example, in Korea, they would have a meetup with in Korean and English. So everybody could speak English, but they would just have somebody explain it again in their local language.
Yeah. So I guess like as somebody who doesn't really speak any other languages than English fluently, I'm not sure how, like how would
actually this makes sense to me.
Okay. So if somebody is like reading this in their native language and they are able to like understand all of the nuance of writing an EIP, how does that transfer to them getting to write it in English? Because like my concern is that if they can't understand the nuance of reading the English, that then they won't be able to convey nuance whenever they are writing it.
I definitely understand the concern. I think that like as I'm kind of turning it over in my head, I still think that you can have people who have enough fluency to be able to write an EIP that communicates all of its points well, that would still benefit from being able to read an explanation of EIPs in native language. And I kind of feel like even if there would be, like, it ain't going to be Shakespeare, but at the same time, I do think that they could hit like kind of the critical mass at like communicating a point and doing it well even. And I think it's worth enabling in a situation like that, though you are right that it probably also will create some EIPs that just language wise are not so manageable. But I think it's worth it just like for that group of people who really would get enabled by something like that. So I mean, yeah, I'm all about being more inclusive and trying to make more things like that happen. So maybe if somebody wanted to translate EIP-template.md to like EIP-template.md.cn.jp, you know, whatever the standard like language extensions are, I think that would be pretty cool. Maybe a dash at the end of it's like EIP-template-cn.md. Okay, yeah, something like that. Yeah, and the one thing that I would say though is like it definitely should preserve like the English inside. Like there will need to be security concerns or security considerations. Like it should look like this. Like then just kind of annotate it with the target language. That would kind of be my thought. But otherwise, it strikes me like a good idea.
Yeah, I think there's just a difficulty, like having been in another culture where, you know, language barrier, cultural differences, you definitely need somebody who understands both cultures and both languages. I think that's the difficulty is like when you translate, there might be things that are that can be misunderstood, like phrases, or I mean, the way you order a sentence. Like if you study the differences between, for example, like Mandarin and English, you realize that they just think completely differently. Like, for example, we might make fun of somebody for saying like, you know, today beautiful, but that's really how they order their sentences. Like they always, in Mandarin, they always put time first. So, and there's different sayings of course too. Like I think there's definitely a potential for things to get lost in translation.
Yeah, and if you're going as far as Mandarin, I'd say the difference is significantly more vast than word ordering, because even conceptually, the way the language will convey ideas and use of analogy is, I'd say, vastly different between the two.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I do hear that point.
Actually, that's why I was thinking about the translation. Like, I am guessing that some of the problems may be arising because they're just translating by themselves. Like, they're reading it and they're a group of people, and like, you may be a great engineer, but you will probably choose someone fluent in English to translate the technical document for you. And that person may not understand the technical issues involved. So so something is lost in translation. But I think for most communities in the world, there's enough English fluency that this is not a big deal. But I think for Korea, Japan, and China, because the languages are so different, having like an official translated template may be better than all these people just like figuring out by themselves. I don't know. That's just a thought that I had. It's not something that, I mean, it's just something that I thought about right now.
I'm convinced.
Yeah, I think that is not a bad idea. We are actually getting something additional which may be helpful for some of the community members. So maybe we can get more thoughts on it when we have the file. I mean, someone can make a pull request to have it added over here in Chinese, Japanese, or Korean, whatever language we can convert it. And let's see what other EIP reviewers have to say on that. So we are about time. And yeah, I want to make a mention of the recent Peep and Eep episode that we have recorded with Matt. It's about the EIP editing. And I think this is one of the like most informative episodes on EIP editing that will be very helpful for new people who are looking forward to join the community and make their first contribution, because it talks about all the roles and responsibilities, as well as what are the key fields, key sections that should be that you should be looking into as a reviewer. So people, if you are interested to be a part of this, or you want to learn more about reviewing process, please check out that video. It is available on Ethereum Catalyst YouTube. And we hope to keep continuing this EIP editor apprenticeship meeting bi-weekly. This would be the last meeting for the year, but we will see you in the next year, January. So join the Discord channel to talk more about your question, comments, or concerns. And if you're looking into any specific EIPs and you're stuck somewhere, I hope you'll be helped. And yeah, it's nice to have all these people joining in today and talking about different issues. And like today, we came across this translation thing. We can get some new ideas that can be helpful for community. Well, any
Awesome.
final comment, thoughts from anyone?
Have a good
thank
holidays.
you so much. Happy holidays.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we get to end off the year at inbox 0, man. How awesome.
We
is
love
that?
to see that.
Yeah.
Right.
Good times. All right.
All right.
I'm ahead.
Thank you everyone for joining. Have a good
Cheers.
one, everyone.
Yeah.
Enjoy the
See you
Thanks,
holiday.
everyone.
See you in
Happy holidays.
2022.